Level 1. The Promoter. You are 19 years old. It is 1130 on a Friday night. The wind is whipping down the avenue, cutting straight through your thin jacket. You are standing on a street corner 2 blocks away from the neon sign of a club you can't even afford to drink in. You hold a thick stack of glossy cardstock flyers. Your fingers are completely numb. The edges of the cheap paper feel like razor blades against your skin. You extend your hand to a group of girls shivering in high heels. They don't look at you. They don't even break their conversation. You extend your hand to a passing couple. The guy aggressively swats the flyer away without breaking stride. You learn to ignore the rejection. You learn to ignore the cold. You learn to ignore the sheer, crushing humiliation of begging strangers to enter a building. You are the absolute lowest rung on the nightlife ladder. A street team promoter. Your entire human worth is currently calculated in $2 increments. That is what the club pays you for every person who walks through the velvet ropes holding your specific flyer. $2. You do the math constantly in your head. You need $400 for your share of the rent. That is 200 people. You need 200 human beings to take this piece of paper, keep it, and hand it to a bouncer who actively hates you. Earlier today, you spent 4 hours hunched over a laptop in a coffee shop. You spammed every Facebook group you could find. You mass texted contacts you haven't spoken to since high school. You sent desperate, overly enthusiastic messages to complete strangers. Huge night tonight. VIP guest list. DM me for entry. You use words like VIP. You use words like exclusive. Nothing about this is exclusive. You are desperate. You are practically on your knees in the digital world. 3 people replied. 2 of them asked for free bottles. You can't give them free bottles. You can barely afford a slice of pizza for dinner. The bass from the club thumps in the distance. It is a muffled, heavy heartbeat that vibrates through the freezing concrete. You hear the laughter of people who belong inside. You are outside. You are always outside. A group of guys approaches. You force a fake, wide smile. You pitch the drink specials, you hand them the flyers. One of them takes it, looks at it, and drops it on the wet pavement right in front of your shoes. He steps on it as he walks away. You don't say anything. You just bend down, pick up the wet, dirty flyer, and throw it in the trash. At 2:00 a.m., the street's finally empty. The cold has settled deep into your bones. You walk to the alley behind the club. You meet the head promoter. He is a guy in a cheap leather jacket who treats you like an insect. He holds a clipboard. He counts the flyers with your initials scribbled on the back. 34. $68. He hands you a wad of crumpled, damp bills. He doesn't say, "Good job." He doesn't look you in the eye. He just tells you to be back tomorrow at 10:00 p.m. You take the money. You walk to the subway. The train car is empty. Your ears ring slightly from the muffled street noise. Your feet ache. You look at the $68 in your hand. It is not enough. It is never enough. But you tell yourself this is just the beginning. You tell yourself you are paying your dues. You don't know it yet, but the dues in this industry are never fully paid. Level 2. The VIP host. You are inside now. The freezing street corners are behind you. You bought a slim-fit suit from a fast fashion mall store. It is polyester. It traps your sweat. Under the harsh strobe lights, the fabric has a cheap, unnatural sheen. But in the dim red glow of the VIP section, you look the part. You look like you belong. You don't belong. You are an extra in someone else's movie. The noise is a physical weight. The bass hits your chest like a sledgehammer. You learn to speak without words. You learn to read lips. You learn the exact angle to lean into a customer's ear so they can hear you over the DJ. Your job is simple but humiliating. You are a glorified shepherd for rich people. You walk them past the line. You unhook the velvet rope. You guide them to their leather booths. You make them feel important. You make them feel like gods. You stand by the table, waiting. You watch a 40-year-old hedge fund manager hand a black Amex to the waitress. He orders 3 bottles of vodka. The total is $2,000. That is 2 months of your rent. He signs the receipt without blinking. He barely looks at the bottles when they arrive with sparklers. 10 minutes later, he spills half a glass of it on the floor while trying to talk to a 21-year-old model who is actively ignoring him. You watch the alcohol seep into the sticky carpet. You feel a hard, cold knot form in your stomach. You want to scream. You want to drop to your knees and wring the carpet out into a glass. You are starving, and they are throwing money away right in front of your face. You learn to hide the disgust. You learn to smile. You learn to laugh at jokes that aren't funny. You stand there for 6 hours. Your lower back screams in pain. Your feet go numb in cheap dress shoes. The club closes at 4:00 a.m. The lights come up. The magic dies instantly. The floor is covered in crushed plastic cups, spilled ice, and lost dignity. You find the hedge fund manager as he stumbles toward the exit. You hand him his coat. You smile that fake, wide smile. He presses a crumpled bill into your palm. $50. You walk home as the sun threatens to rise. Your ears are ringing, a high-pitched, endless whine that burrows into your skull. Your suit smells like stale sweat, spilled energy drinks, and expensive cologne. You have a taste of the lifestyle now. You stand next to the wealth. You breathe the same air as the money, but you own absolutely none of it. You are a ghost haunting a party you weren't invited to. You fall asleep at 6:00 a.m. You dream about black Amex cards and spilled vodka. Level 3. The General Manager. You have the keys now. A heavy, jagged ring of metal that drags down your pocket. You are no longer the guy in the cheap suit outside. You are the guy running the floor. You arrive at 3:00 p.m. The club is empty. It smells like industrial bleach, sour limes, and decades of spilled beer. You walk through the silent, massive room. Without the strobe lights, it looks pathetic. It looks like a cheap warehouse built for bad decisions. The radio earpiece goes in your right ear. It stays there for the next 14 hours. It never stops talking. It is a constant feed of anxiety injected directly into your brain. The ice machine is broken. The headline DJ is refusing to leave his hotel. VIP Table 6 hates their waitress. You don't manage a business, you manage a daycare for heavily intoxicated adults. It is 1:00 a.m. The floor is packed beyond legal capacity. The heat is unbearable. The earpiece crackles. Fight in Section 4. Fight in Section 4. You sprint. You push through a solid wall of sweaty bodies. Two men in expensive shirts are tearing at each other over a spilled drink. Blood is already slicking the white tile. You don't think. You just grab fabric and pull. A stray elbow catches you hard in the jaw. You taste copper. You drag the aggressor out the back exit. You toss him into the freezing alley. You walk back inside. You wipe your bleeding chin with a cocktail napkin. 2 minutes later, you are grabbing a mop to clean up a puddle of vomit by the main bar. There is no glamour here. You are a highly paid janitor in a neon war zone. It is 2:30 a.m. The fire marshal walks through the front door. He is not here for a safety inspection. He is here for his envelope. You know the drill. You walk him to your cramped, windowless back office. You open the safe. You hand him an envelope stuffed with $600 in untraceable cash. He counts it, he puts it in his pocket, he walks out. You learn to ignore the corruption. You are officially part of the machine now. You are complicit. You check the point of sale system. The numbers are off. You pull the security camera feed. Your best bartender is skimming cash. He is sliding $20 bills under the register drawer. You call him to the office at the end of the shift. You fire him on the spot. He screams at you. He threatens to slash your tires. He calls you a soulless corporate sellout. You don't feel anything. Your empathy died months ago. You just watch him leave. You get home at 6:30 a.m. The sun is blinding. The morning traffic is already loud outside your window. You pull down the blackout curtains. You lie in bed, staring at the ceiling. Your heart is hammering violently against your ribs. The stress is a physical weight crushing your chest. You cannot sleep. The baseline is still thumping inside your skull. You take a pill to shut your brain off. You will take another pill in 6 hours to turn it back on. You are running the club, but the club is slowly killing you. Level 4. The dive bar owner. You take the leap. You scrape together every dollar you have ever saved. You beg your family for money. You take a predatory loan from a guy who doesn't use banks, with an interest rate that makes you physically sick to your stomach. You buy your own place. It is not a mega club. It is a hole in the wall. A narrow, dark room with sticky wood floors, torn vinyl booths, and a neon sign in the window that buzzes like a dying hornet. But your name is on the lease. You are the boss now. You think ownership means freedom. You are dead wrong. Ownership means you are the last line of defense for every single disaster. It is 3:00 a.m. on a Tuesday. Your phone rings. It is your only bartender. The men's bathroom toilet is overflowing. You drive back to the bar in the pouring rain. You don't have the cash to call a 24-hour emergency plumber. You are the emergency plumber. You roll up your sleeves. You plunge your bare hands into filthy, freezing, contaminated water. You pull out wet paper towels, empty plastic baggies, and broken glass from a rusted pipe. You smell like raw sewage. You smell like failure. You fix the clog. You scrub your hands with industrial soap until the skin is raw and bleeding. You sit alone in an empty booth and look at your kingdom. The math never works. You stare at spreadsheets in your cramped office until your vision blurs. The liquor distributor just raised their prices by 12%. The landlord is threatening to hike the rent when the lease renews. The city just issued a citation for a broken exit sign. You do the calculations again and again. You are working 100 hours a week to make less money than you did as a manager. You are paying for the privilege of being tortured. You learn to compromise. You learn to water down the well vodka, just a little, just enough to stretch the razor-thin margins. You learn to turn a blind eye when the regulars lock themselves in the single-stall bathroom for 20 minutes, because those specific regulars pay the electric bill. You are trading your morals for a few $100s a night. Your old friends stop coming by. They used to ask for free drinks. You had to say no. Now they think you are a sellout. They think you are arrogant. They don't see the past due final notices stacked on your desk. They don't see the panic attacks. You have them in the walk-in cooler. You press your forehead against the freezing metal beer kegs, struggling to pull air into your lungs, terrified you are going to lose your parents' retirement money. The constant ringing in your ears never stops. You are the boss. You own the bar, but the bar absolutely owns you. Level 5, the hotspot owner. You finally do it. You sell the dive bar, you partner with real investors, you open a massive venue in the Prime District. A club with velvet ropes, an LED ceiling, and a sound system that costs more than a suburban house. The line wraps around the block on opening night. You stand at the front door. You are not holding the flyers anymore. You are holding the power. The money is flowing. It comes in thick, banded stacks of cash. You stop worrying about broken plumbing. You start worrying about bottlenecks at the main bar. Celebrities show up. Athletes. Reality TV stars. You pay models to drink expensive champagne at your tables for free because they are the bait, and the rich men are the trap. You see your club tagged in thousands of photos a night. You are the king of the city. But the success brings the leeches. They crawl out of the woodwork. People you haven't spoken to in 10 years suddenly text you. Bro, I'm at the door. Let me in. Hey man, can you comp a table for my birthday? They don't want to see you. They want to bypass the line. They want proximity to your power. You let a few of them in at first. They drink your liquor, trash your VIP section, and don't leave a tip for your waitresses. You learn to say no. You learn to say it coldly. You learn to ignore the texts. You learn to ignore the guilt. Your phone buzzes constantly. It never stops. You change your number, they find the new one, you sit in your own VIP booth surrounded by 50 beautiful people, and you realize something terrifying. You don't know who your real friends are anymore. You look to your left. That guy wants a free bottle. You look to your right. That girl wants an Instagram tag. Every single interaction is a transaction. Every smile is a negotiation. You are making serious money, but you are buying serious isolation. You trust absolutely no one. You watch the security cameras on your phone while you eat dinner. You watch the cameras while you are in bed. You watch the cameras because everyone is trying to take a piece of what you built. You are surrounded by 1,000 screaming, dancing people, and you have never felt more utterly alone. Level 6. The syndicate. You don't just own a club anymore. You own the block. You own 3 venues. You own the politicians who zone the district. You sit in a private dining room at a high-end steakhouse. It is 1000 p.m. on a Tuesday. The man sitting across from you is a city councilman. The man next to him is a police captain. You pay for their dry-aged ribeyes. You pay for their $2,000 bottles of Bordeaux. You slide a thick manila envelope across the pristine white tablecloth. They don't look inside, they don't need to. The envelope guarantees your liquor licenses renew without a hitch. The envelope guarantees the noise complaints disappear. The envelope guarantees the patrol cars ignore the blatant drug dealing happening half a block from your front doors. You are no longer in the hospitality business. You are in the compliance business. You manage a shadow economy. Then come the real partners, the ones who don't wear badges. They wear custom-tailored suits and speak very quietly. They don't ask for a table, they take the best one. They need a place to clean their cash. Your venues are the perfect washing machine. Thousands of cover charges, thousands of untraceable cash transactions at the bar. They hand you duffel bags of dirty money. You ring it through the registers as phantom drink sales. You pay the taxes. You hand them clean checks, minus your 20% fee. You are laundering money. You know it, they know it. The federal government probably knows it but can't prove it yet. You cross a line you swore you would never cross. You tell yourself it is just business. You tell yourself you had no choice if you wanted to operate at this level. You had a choice. You chose the expansion. You chose the power. You look in the mirror in your private office bathroom. You look sick. Your skin is pale, almost a translucent gray. You have deep, dark, bruised circles under your eyes. You haven't seen the actual sun in 3 years. You wake up at 4:00 p.m. You go to sleep at 8:00 a.m. You live in a state of perpetual artificial twilight. You take handfuls of expensive supplements to replace the vitamin D your body desperately craves. It doesn't work. Your body knows it is breaking down. You are losing your soul, one night at a time. You watch the organized crime guys drag a rival promoter into a back alley on the security feed. You hear the muffled, sickening crunch of bone through the concrete walls. You don't intervene. You just finish your drink, you look away, you are complicit in violence now. Your empire is massive. Your bank accounts are offshore. Your life is a labyrinth of LLCs and holding companies. But the paranoia is absolutely suffocating. Every time a siren wails in the distance, your heart skips a beat. Every time a new suit walks into your office, you wonder if they are wearing a wire. You check for bugs under your desk. You sweep your car for GPS trackers. You are making millions. You are paying off the mob. You are paying off the cops. You are trapped in a windowless prison made of neon lights and dirty money. Level 7, the Mega Club Mogul. You leave the underground behind, you go corporate. You are in Vegas now, or maybe Miami. The geography doesn't matter because the inside of the venue looks exactly the same. It is a mega club. It holds 5,000 people. It spans multiple floors. It is not a party. It is a highly optimized, ruthlessly efficient machine designed to extract maximum capital per square foot. You are the CEO of a nightlife empire. You have a board of directors. You have quarterly earnings calls. You sit in a sterile, glass-walled boardroom at noon overlooking the strip. You talk about revenue per available square foot. You talk about beverage cost margins. You talk about the exact psychological temperature to keep the air conditioning at so the crowd sweats just enough to buy more $20 bottles of water. The soul of the business is gone, completely dead. You don't book local talent anymore. You book global megastars. You wire $500,000 to a 22-year-old kid with a laptop for a 2-hour set. You watch him stand in a massive LED DJ booth and press play on a pre-recorded track. The confetti cannons fire. The CO2 jets blast. 5,000 people scream in unison. You feel absolutely nothing. It is just another line item on a profit and loss statement. You do not walk the floor alone anymore. You have bodyguards. 2 massive men with earpieces and tailored black suits flank you everywhere you go. They clear paths through the packed crowd with brutal physical efficiency. They stand outside your private VIP restroom. You need them. The higher you climb, the bigger the target on your back becomes. You are a walking symbol of extreme wealth, and extreme wealth attracts extreme desperation. You get death threats from band high rollers. You get extortion attempts from syndicates who want a piece of your real estate. The isolation is absolute. You are insulated by layers of security, layers of corporate lawyers, layers of wealth managers. You stand on a balcony looking down at the sea of bodies jumping in the dark. They are having the best night of their lives. You are calculating the markup on a $10,000 bottle of champagne that costs you $400 wholesale. You are analyzing the attrition rate of your bottle girls. You don't drink anymore. You don't do the drugs. You can't. You have a fiduciary duty to shareholders. You are a corporate executive selling the illusion of rebellion. You sell the fantasy of a wild, unhinged night to tourists who will drain their savings accounts just to stand in your building for 3 hours. You go back to your penthouse at 500 A.M. The glass walls overlook the glowing neon city. It is dead silent inside. The silence is deafening. The permanent tinnitus in your ears screams in the quiet room. You built this empire. You conquered the night. But the city doesn't care. It just hums in the distance, perfectly indifferent, waiting to chew you up. Level 8. The Pariah. The music stops. The house lights snap on. It is 2:14 a.m. on a Saturday. The worst sound in the world is not the silence. It is the radios. The harsh, static crackle of police walkie-talkies cutting through the dead air of a mega club. You stand on the VIP balcony. You look down at the dance floor. The sea of bodies has parted. A jagged, empty circle has formed. A kid is on the ground. He is 20 years old. His skin is pale. His lips tinted a terrifying shade of blue. Paramedics are tearing open his expensive shirt. They are doing chest compressions. The confetti is still settling on the floor around his lifeless body. He doesn't wake up. He doesn't breathe. He dies on your floor, right next to VIP table 4. The fallout is absolute. It is instant. The media catches it by sunrise. It wasn't just any kid. It was a local politician's son. A high-profile tragedy. The news anchors use words like den of iniquity and negligent oversight. The police raid your venues. Men in tactical gear kick in the doors of your glass-walled offices. They seize the hard drives. They freeze the bank accounts. The lawsuits hit you like a tidal wave. Civil suits from the family, criminal negligence charges from the district attorney. The state liquor board suspends your licenses indefinitely. Your venues are shuttered. Padlocks on the front doors. You need your network. You need the people you took care of. You need the politicians you bought dry-aged steaks for. You need the celebrities who drank your $10,000 champagne for free. You call the city councilman. The number goes straight to a generic voicemail. You call your best friend, the one who flew on your chartered jet to Cabo last month. He blocks your number. You call your investors. They don't answer either. Instead, their high-powered attorneys send you aggressive legal notices, severing ties, throwing you entirely under the bus to save themselves. They abandon you. Instantly. Completely. You learn the hardest lesson of the night. You were never their friend. You were their ATM. You were their playground. And the playground is officially closed. You are radioactive. You sit in your lawyer's office. You are sweating through a custom-tailored shirt. Your chest tightens. A sharp, squeezing pain shoots down your left arm. Your vision spots. Heart palpitations. The stress is physically destroying your cardiovascular system. You grip the edge of the mahogany desk, gasping for shallow breaths of air. The lawyer looks at you with cold, calculating eyes. He doesn't ask if you need a doctor. He doesn't care if you drop dead in this leather chair. He only cares if your retainer check cleared the bank. You are a pariah. The empire you sacrificed your youth, your morals, and your sleep to build is completely dismantled in 3 weeks. Level 9. The Relic. You survive. The lawsuits bleed your bank accounts completely dry, but you stay out of a federal prison cell. You settle out of court. You sign stacks of ironclad non-disclosure agreements. You pay the fines. You liquidate your offshore accounts. You lose the mega clubs, the penthouses, the private jets. 3 years pass in absolute silence. You convince yourself you still have the magic. You scrape together capital from third-tier investors. You find a mid-sized venue in a gentrifying neighborhood. You plan a comeback. You design it exactly like the clubs you used to run. Polished chrome, black leather booths, VIP exclusivity. You open the doors. Nobody cares. The line does not wrap around the block. The velvet rope sits there, useless and arrogant. The culture shifted while you were fighting for your life in courtrooms. The tectonic plates of nightlife moved. and they left you stranded on an island. The kids don't care about your bottle service. They don't care about sparklers and aggressive bouncers. They are going to underground warehouse raves. They are drinking natural wine in unbranded, dimly lit lounges. They are listening to a subgenre of music that sounds like absolute noise to your damaged ears. You don't understand them. You resent them. You hire a 21-year-old marketing director. She wears baggy thrift store clothes and talks about digital aesthetics you cannot comprehend. You pay her an absurd salary because you are utterly desperate for relevance. She tells you to get rid of the dress code. She tells you your venue feels try-hard. You swallow your pride and nod. You stand in the back corner of your half-empty club on a Friday night. You are wearing a perfectly tailored, expensive, dark suit. You look at the crowd. They are wearing sneakers and oversized vintage t-shirts. You look like a dinosaur. You look like a plainclothes police officer. You are an old person in a young person's game. You try to mingle. You walk up to a group of 20-somethings at the bar. You buy a round of drinks. You try to spark a conversation. You use their slang. The words feel heavy, awkward, and entirely wrong in your mouth. The kids stop talking. They smile politely. They look at you with a devastating mixture of pity and discomfort. They are literally waiting for you to walk away. You retreat to your office. You lock the door. You sit in the dark and pour a glass of cheap whiskey. You are chasing a ghost. You are chasing the adrenaline rush of being the undeniable king of the city. But the city has already crowned a new king. You don't even know his name. The glory days are dead and buried. You are just a relic, clinging to the neon debris of an era that the world has already forgotten. Level 10, the ghost. You sold the last venue. You signed the paperwork in a brightly lit attorney's office. You wired the money into accounts you rarely check. You are wealthy now. Quietly, safely, permanently wealthy. You bought a house in the suburbs. A massive house with thick walls, triple-paned glass, and heavy oak doors. It is designed to keep the noise out. It doesn't work. The noise is inside you. It is 3:00 a.m. on a Friday. You are awake. You are always awake at 3:00 a.m. Your circadian rhythm was violently destroyed 2 decades ago, and it never recovered. You walk through the dark, empty halls of your sprawling home. The silence is supposed to be a luxury. It is agonizing. The tinnitus never stops. A high-pitched, metallic shriek sits permanently behind your eardrums. It is the accumulated physical damage of 20 years spent standing next to blown-out subwoofers. It is the ghost of a million bass drops. You sleep with a white noise machine on maximum volume. You take prescription sleeping pills. It barely dulls the ringing. You have no friends from the old life. You cut ties with the syndicates, the promoters, the fake VIPs, and the politicians. Your phone never rings. You got everything you ever wanted, and it cost you everything you actually needed. You are a ghost. You haunt your own life. You pour a glass of tap water in the dark kitchen. You walk to the front window. You look out at the wet, cold street. Down on the corner, under the harsh, flickering glare of a streetlight, you see him, a kid. He looks exactly 19 years old. He is wearing a thin jacket. The winter wind is cutting straight through it. He is holding a thick stack of glossy cardstock flyers. He approaches a passing couple. He extends his arm. He forces a desperate, wide smile. The couple ignores him completely. They don't even break their stride. The guy swats the flyer away. You watch the kid drop his hand. You watch him shiver in the cold. You know exactly what is going through his mind. He is calculating the math. $2 ahead. He is desperate. He is hungry. He wants the money. He wants the power. He wants to be on the inside. You press your hand against the cold glass of the window. You want to open it. You want to scream at him to drop the flyers and run away. You want to tell him about the panic attacks in the walk-in cooler. You want to tell him about the mob payoffs, the lawsuits, the dead kid on the floor, and the crushing, absolute loneliness of being the king of the night. You want to warn him that the house always wins. And even when you own the house, it still takes your soul as collateral. You don't open the window. You don't say a word. You just take a sip of water and watch him from the dark. They'll figure it out. They always do. The cycle continues.